fine and wonderful people of the internet, welcome back to Wolfpack. So today we're in for a wee educational lesson on how the dickens to hit something. So basically my experience of Wolfpack so far as a captain is that I am pretty good at navigating. I can get my men to find ships, and I can get my men to get us to ships, but I'm having a dickens of a time actually being able to hit ships. And the developers of the game have agreed, so they've provided this here tutorial level, which what it does, if we come up into the conning tower for a second, it basically, no, don't go up, don't go up. Let's just go back down, because we don't really need to be in the surface for this one. It pits us in the middle of 3 ships. We've got 1, 2, and 3. All of them are at different angles, all of them are at different speeds and distances, and they don't react to you, and they cannot be sunk, but your idea, the idea of them is to hit them with torpedoes, so that you can learn how, in the name of Charles Dickens, the torpedo data calculator works. And I'm going to explore this one with you because it's not easy, folks. God, it's really not easy. So let's assume that we've done all the good protocols as a good captain. We've adjusted ourselves into position. Looking at this one, so your spawn location is random. Sometimes you do actually have to move to be able to hit ships. The ones directly behind us we're not going to be able to hit. But I quite fancy our chances of this one, which is off to our side. So let's go ahead and do this. So now we move into so now that we're in a position that we can get a torpedo solution. So what I mean by that is our ship's facing this way. You don't have to have your ship directly facing where your torpedo is going to go, but there are limitations as to how far the torpedo can actually turn to get towards its target. I'm quite comfortable that we can hit this ship. So we'll do that. So now we move on to phase 2, which is identifying what the fuck we're looking at. So this is a ship, as you can see. So the hull is the black bit here, and where it rises above what I guess would be the baseline. So the black crosshair is what I would consider the baseline of the hull, and where it rises up is called an island. So there's an island at the front, which is called the forecastle, and there's an island in the middle here, but there's no aft island. So we've got 2 islands. We've got 2 masts. This is a tower, but it's not really a mast. The engines are at the back of the ship. You can tell that by the placement of the funnel. Sometimes it can be in the middle. And the superstructure, which is a white bit, but it's not necessarily white. There are 2 superstructures, so we refer to this as having a split superstructure. So remember what this ship looks like. We're going to bring up the recognition manual, which we do by pressing C. Also, before we do this, I forgot to say, it's quite important as a captain to have the tools to hand. So what I have is my list of equations. Yes, folks, if you thought you could get away without doing maths in this, I'm afraid you were sorely mistaken. I've got my list of equations. I've got a blank bit of paper, a pocket calculator, and the other tool I have, which is also done using the C menu, is the recognition manual and the distance table, which converts centiradians, which is little tick marks on the periscope, to distances. We'll explore that in just a little bit. So we need to find out what we're shooting at. So this is the recognition manual, so if I reset this properly, so you've got warships, you've got merchants, and you've got aircraft. So we know that we're looking at a merchant ship, so let's now put in the information that we know. The engine placement is at the aft, so you can see this now only selects the ones that are there. We know that the superstructure is split, and we know that we've only got front, mid, but no aft island. So this is the ships that fit that. I don't quite know how to do I don't quite know what information to put in about the masts, so we'll just look at it this way. So basically, Freighter Type 3 is wrong because it's got too many masts. 42 has got 2 masts, but it doesn't have the same tower imaging. 44 has got 2 masts and something, so that could be in with a shout. 45 has 2 masts and then the tower's in the middle, so that one's wrong. And 46 has 3 masts plus a tower, so that's wrong. So that kind of leaves us with 44. So if we take a look at the peculiarities of the mast, so this one's got a Y shape in the mast and then a funky little tower. And we can see that that is exactly what we're looking at. So we now know what ship we're looking at, so let's take a note using pen and paper of this. So the length, which I'm going to write as L, is 124 meters. The mast height of the ship, which I'm going to mark down as H, is 35 meters. Happy days. So let's leave this, and let's put that information into the torpedo data calculator. So to start with, we're going to use the attack periscope. So we're going to use that. We know that the length of the ship now is 124 meters. So this is 100, 120, 124 is going to be around here, and that's all we know for just now. So next thing we're going to target is the range. So it's important to note whether you do this measurement in zoom out or zoom in. We're going to use zoom in. So to the tip of the mast, I'm now going to look down the graph at the side. So this is 6 centiradians away, or 6 bars. So centiradians is a proper measurement. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the distance table. We are on zoom type 6, and it's 6 centiradians away. So we're going to come down here, and we're going to explore this column. We know that the ship is 35 meters in height. The masts are 35 meters in height. So it's in between these two. So we're going to come down until we get to 32, 35. So call it in the middle here. So we're going to say 22... a distance of 22 dead, so let's put that in here. 21, 22. Cool, so we'll explore that in a bit. Speed is the next one that we need to calculate. So we can do this in 2 ways. I'll explain about the second way later, but you can use it using the periscope, which is nice and straightforward. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to move the periscope, and as soon as the bow breaks, I'm going to press T, which is my timer. So the equation for speed is nice and straightforward. Speed is simply distance over time, and then you have to convert it into knots. So there is a one-off calculation to do this, but I'll take you through it step by step to make it nice and easy. So this ship's actually moving at a it's not moving at a snail's pace, which is nice. Because it means I don't have to spend too long doing this. Not gonna lie to you, I did try and record this video once before, and the ship was moving very, very slowly, and it was like pulling teeth waiting for it to go past, because I cannot leave this station. I cannot move the periscope. This is basically just a long effort. So it's going to move past now. So 50 seconds on the nose. So we know that the length of the ship is 124 meters, and it took 50 seconds, so that is 2.48 meters per second that it is moving. That's not, meters per second is not useful for us, so we're going to times the whole thing by 3,600, which and then divide by 1,000. That gets us kilometers per hour, so it's 8.9 kilometers per hour, and we're going to times the whole thing by 0.54, which is a good approximation of kilometers per hour into knots. So we're going to suggest that this ship is moving at 4.82 knots. The other thing you can do is, if you don't want to do this step by step, is you can times the meters per second by... So if the meters per second was 2.48 times by 1944, 1.944, and that gives us the exact same figure. So that reduces the number of steps that you need to do. So just remember, Battle of Belgium 1944, however you want to remember it, that's your thing. So the speed of this ship is going to be, where's speed? Speed's here, so we're going to say 4.8, so just shy 5. Okay, done. So the final thing we need to calculate is the angle on bow, which is interesting. Let's do it in this way. So this, we have to be quite technical with it. So I've got the mast height here, and we're going to zoom on back. So basically, what you want to do now, I don't actually know if the centiradian. I don't actually know if this calculation. I genuinely don't know if this calculation works when you use the zoomed in view. Should it work? I'm unsure. We can explore. We'll explore it and see. So what we basically want to do is we want to measure this. So looking at the tick marks at the bottom, the length of the ship in bars is 13 when zoomed in, and the height is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is 5 bars. We'll put a pin in that for just now because I'm not convinced it's going to work, but I know the one that is going to work is this one. So I'm going to put this at the height being 1.25 bars. And bars, centiradians, however you want to call it. My equation, it calls it bars, so we'll do that. And it's not my equation, by the way, I nicked it from somebody else. And we're 3 bars in length. Cool. So, this is where the equation gets nice and spicy. So the equation on screen here is what we need to use. So I'm going to just break this down. So we're going to do the inverse cosine, and you do the height of the ship, which is 35 meters, times the length in bars, which is 3, divided by the length, which is 124 meters, times by the height in bars, which is 1.25. So the angle that we get here is 47 and a bit. We don't need to be that technical with it. We technically do, but I'm not going to bother. Out of curiosity, let's see if that answer comes the same if we do it. So we measured in zoomed in view, we measured it as being 13 on height, 13 on length, sorry, and 5 bars of height, and the answer comes out as actually slightly different. Okay, so there is a difference there, but I guess the difference isn't too bad. So we are going to call it 47, and we can tell that the ship is moving away from us because we can see the back of the superstructure. So that's what the plus and minus is about. If it was moving towards us, we would say minus. If it was moving away from us, if it's moving away from us, we say plus. So the angle on bow is 90 plus 90 plus 47, so that's 137 degrees, and the bow is to our right. Yes, it's to the port side of us. Is it? Is that right? Yeah. So let's put it to, yeah, so the bow of their ship. No, it's yeah, okay, it's whether it's pointing to the left or the right, so it's left. So it is moving to the left, and it's moving at 137. So our angle on bow is 137, so that's approximately here, and the warning light has not come on, so we have a valid firing solution. So what we're going to do for the last time is we're just going to measure this again, the distance. So that's interesting. So we measured this as being 5. We measured it as being 6 before in height. No, we didn't. We measured it as being 5 a minute ago. What the hell am I talking about? Okay, so when I initially did this, I kind of screwed up a little bit. Okay. So we'll say it's 5. So we're 5 centiradians on full zoomed in view, and we know it's 34 to 36 meters. So let's put the distance now at yeah. So do you know what the problem was? The problem was as I was reading the calculations from the attempted recording I did of this previously. So let's actually just make sure I'm not having any confusion here. So let's maybe yeah. So 5's fine. So 5 is fine. We know it's between 33 and 34. So let's call it now 38. The distance is now 28, sorry. I sometimes get my words muddled up, so let's call it here. So we're now looking at 3 minutes on station, which is long away. We're going to aim for the superstructure. Torpedo 1 away. So torpedoes launched, angle on station is 3 minutes and 22. So we've got some time to kill. So we've now fired the torpedo. Is it going to hit or is it not? So because this is a tutorial, so this is the map that you normally see, and because this is a tutorial, you can show the solutions. So we said that the speed was... let's come off the map. I didn't actually write it down, which isn't very professional of me. We said that the speed was... Where's the speed? Speed 4.8 meter knots, and that's almost bang on. So that was okay. The distance, it's moved away since we fired it, but 28 was approximately right, but not quite. And the angle on bow is actually wrong. So we've obviously used we've used a bad measurement somewhere. Which has probably been because I've been confused about exactly what I'm doing. So there's actually quite a good likelihood that this torpedo is going to miss. So we got the speed right, but while we're here, I'm going to show you how to measure it in a different way. So what I'm going to do here, we've got it on the map. So let's assume that so for this method, you really do need a competent navigator and a really precise captain on the periscope, which we don't have. Normally you would reset the timer on this. In fact, I'm pretty confident. I might, no. Okay, we'll leave it be for just now. So what we're going to do is we're going to, when it gets to what would effectively be 0, but we'll do a 2-minute mark. We're going to mark a point here, and we're going to time it for 1 minute. So in reality, what you would do is you would work out, the captain would work out the distance that the ship is away accurately, which obviously I screwed up with quite categorically. And the angle, which you can tell. So when you look at the periscope, you've got the compass at top. So you would mark the angle, and you would mark, you would call out the angle, and you would call out the distance, and your navigator would then mark this on the map, because you won't have these pips in game. So you would have to use a ruler to assess the distance. So if you do draw a line, you would do from your ship over to the distance. And oh, actually, sorry, it's quite handy. So if you turn on show angle, let's just erase that. Oh, we need to mark time. Mark time. Okay. Yeah. So that's basically how you do it. So we slightly screwed that up. So it's a wee bit longer than expected. And so connect the dots. We've got 157 meters across a 1 minute stretch. So the equation is ever so slightly different because we're now working in minutes and not... well, you could do it over seconds, I suppose, depending on how confident you are, but you want a big enough gap. I wonder if this torpedo is in fact actually gonna hit. That would be quite interesting if it did. So... Nah, it's gonna pass in front, isn't it? Yeah, pass clean in front. So that was a definite miss because we definitely screwed something up. Anyway, we know they've moved 150 centimeters. So what we're going 150. They've moved 157 meters in 1 minute. So in effect, what we're going to do here is we're going to do 157 times 60. And again, that's meters per hour. So we're going to divide meters per second. So we're going to divide that by that, divided by 1,000, which is kilometers per hour, and we're going to times by 0.54. And because we were slightly over, we've got a slightly wrong speed of 5 knots. But that's basically how you do it. However, this requires a lot of coordination and a lot of precision, which I am not capable of because I am one of them patates. Okay, So zoom in, we've now got quite a lot of difficulty. So let's try and recalculate the angle on bow here. So we are, let's call it 3.75 tick marks of height using the zoomed in view, and we're just going to keep it consistent and use the zoomed in view. And we are 6.5 tick marks of length. Okay, so let's try the angle on bow calculation again. So we know it is 35 meters times 3.75 centiradians. So inverse cosine of 35 times 6.5 divided by 124 times by 3.75, and that gives us an angle of 60 degrees. So 60 degrees is definitely still moving away from us. So the angle on bow is now 150 and the bow is still pointing to the left. So let's now put this to 151, which is here. So we're 151, and we now need to work out the distance, which 3.75, so near enough 4, take us down to the table of here. So 3.5 to 4. It's closer to 4, so let's maybe set it to 36 in range. We're now going to select tube 2. And the time on stay. Oh, we've still got the timer running. God, that's probably going to be a bit annoying here. So time on station is 4 minutes. So let's try this again. Actually, let's now. So the other thing you can do if you don't have a lot of confidence or if you've got a lot of targets is you can salvo them. So let's salvo everything that we have, and we'll put the spread angle to. Well, how do I increase the spread angle? That's uncomfortable. Okay, I don't know how to do the spread angle. I just realized I've done the range wrong, and it's probably moved away a wee bit further from us. I'm just going to take us closer here. So we've got nearly 5 minutes. Salvo, that's why we can. So you need to set this setting to salvo, set all of them over. And the spread angle is nice and low. Cool, that's fine. So let's come away from this, use the attack periscope, aim for the superstructure. Let's see how we get on. So all 4 tubes are away. Oh, and let's call it 4 minutes 50. So if we go to the map. So the bow angle slightly changed, so it does change as things move. And we've got some time to kill. So what we'll do is we've got the salvo distance. So we'll just I guess we'll just come back and see when it gets closer to the time. So our time on station was just a little bit over 5 minutes. So we fired a salvo of 4 torpedoes. Do we think any of them are going to hit? Oh, 1. 2. Hey, 2 hits. Okay, so we did it. We did it. We missed the first time because we screwed up a lot of things. But we did it, so we can now stop this. So this is, in theory, going to be sinking. Let's move to the... So I don't know where the last one's gone. I don't have a clue where the last one's gone. Okay, so we'll focus on the one that's... I'm lost. Oh, there it is. Oh god, it's miles away. Right, let's focus on the one that's here. And let's do this again to try and hit the message home. So let's just go ahead and we'll zoom in right here. So we're going to call this 8 centiradians in height. 8. So if we bring it all the way down, we're going to say 36. So if we say it is, if we say the distance, so the distance is done in hectometers. So if we say it's 18 hectometers here. Okay. So the speed, which I already know because I got bored and started tracking it while you were doing this. So because it is moving quite slow, so I'm not actually going to take you through the process. I was tracking it, but on the solution it does say it's just shy of 2. I got 1.9, it got 1.8, which is fine. So we're going to come off here. So the speed is just about right. We're going to select tube 1 because so the tubes are reloading and it does take time to reload. We've got a valid firing angle, and what we need to do is all we need to do now is the angle on bow. So again, it's moving away from us. It's the same ship, so again, it's arc cos of the height, which is 35 times the length in bars. So if I do the length in bars is quite hard to measure. I think it's close enough. I might actually just use this. So the length in bars is 5.5. So 35 times 5 and so the arc cos of 35 times 5.5 divided by 124 times 1.75. That's going to bring us 27 degrees, so it's moving away from us at 27 degrees, so 90 plus 27, angle is 117. The bow is moving to our left, so we'll put this to 117. So, because we've got the solution on for the tutorial, we can see that this is just about going to hit. Obviously you can fine-tune this in the tutorial, but you can't do it in real life. We've got 2 minutes on station. So what we'll do is we'll come away from this and we'll just, again, aim for the superstructure and fire away. So, yeah. So basically the thing that you can take away from this is that the further away the ship is, the harder it is to actually hit. This one's nice and close, so it's quite easy and quite fast to be able to get reasonably accurate measurements. I use it down to quarter. I mean, you do have to use a lot of guesswork and intuition in order to get this, to get your shots to land. But with practice, I mean, you know, ultimately I am doing this now, but I mean, imagine being in the war where you don't have easy access to a pocket calculator. Things are dark, things can go wrong, you're stressed, you've got warships everywhere. You know, it's quite a delightfully spicy situation. So to think that so many German, American, British, Russian, you know, so many captains of submarines actually did this for their job. And you know, got some frankly alarming successes at the hands of their U-boats is impressive. You know, it really is. So yeah. So we've got another 40 seconds. So what did we say it was? It was 2 minutes and 2. Cool. So 2 minutes and 2. So we're just coming up on 30 seconds to impact. Assuming I've done this right. We know we have because we used the cheat sheet to check. "15 seconds. 10 seconds. Should be us now in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is where it doesn't blow up. Nope, it blew up. We've done it. Okay, cool. So for the third one, if I was going to do it, obviously it's so so far away we can barely see it, so I would need to honk up the engines and get ourselves into a valid firing position. But I think we've proved this enough. So basically, hopefully this has given you a little bit of an idea of how to use the Torpedo Data Calculator. The reason that I've decided to do this in video form is because on the help forums, and by the way, the Wolfpack Discord is a fantastic place to go for information and tips and tricks on how to do this, that, and the next thing in Wolfpack. But the equation that's posted, which is the angle on bow one, how to work with the bars is actually quite difficult, and it literally is just the centiradians. But you have to have a good degree of measurement to do it, particularly when it's far away. So you just need to be mindful of that. But I thought I can explain to you how to use that equation and how to just do everything in general. So we have, if this was real, sank 2 ships. We did fuck up the first time, but yeah, happy days, cool. So I think that's probably enough for this video. So I hope it's been informative. I hope it's been educational. And for just now, I'm going to say thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Happy sailing, folks. Bye.